Yeah.
Come on.
It's not a very good bottle.
There it is.
opener.
I gave him the bad bottle opener.
That's all right.
Let me try this.
That's pretty cool.
If it works,
This smells good.
there you go.
Yeah, that's a different brand
It worked.
I got for Nicole. It seems to, yeah, she loves it, and
Yeah.
she says it tastes like grape soda. This tastes like, I don't know, Sam Adams Winter Lager. Is it good?
Tastes delicious.
There's a complaint on Facebook on our last episode that it said these guys are just nerdy out on beer. What did they say about the missiles? I'm like, yeah, this is not a 3-minute video community. So here we go. So we got Cliff and we got Mike and Tim showed up. He's crashing.
Shut up, Tim.
What's up, guys? That's all right.
Yeah, Tim, you're talking too much already. Is the thing.
So good news. We think we may have found the M56 Scorpion that we were talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So Tim's working on that. Yeah, that's going to be a field expedition, I think, and the rocket. And so and we're working on another episode I was wanting to do for a while about shooting sports for your backyard, you know, like archery and air guns and stuff like that. And I found out there's an axe throwing club in Odessa. I've got a guy coming to do that, so
That's
I think
pretty cool.
that'd be a lot of fun. Sorry, guys, my voice is absolutely shot today. And our new firmware is scaring me because it has a screensaver now. Yeah,
I don't like that.
it seems to be working well. Everything says it's working.
I saw you over there looking at the buttons, and I thought you were going to say "and record."
No, we had some
Yeah.
drama last time, but I don't know. It does. It's weird that it now has a screensaver. So this is Cliff's idea. We need to end the conspiracy theory that Cliff and Mike Montalvo are not the same person because we got them in the same frame, right?
Yeah, we finally.
Are we in the same frame? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. After how many episodes? It's me and Mike on
Yeah.
at the same time. So there we go.
All it is really is just a mirror. And
Don't give it all away, dude.
Yeah.
It's a green screen. That's why we got Tim there. Like,
Yeah.
we got
So,
him split.
well, this whole thing is just a cheap cinematic trick.
it's Tim's there just to show how well we're actually pulling off this whole mirror thing.
yeah. That's
So-
working out just right, man.
Fantastic.
So Cliff mentioned that we were laughing about it, and we thought if we got the three of us together, what the hell would we talk about? And we couldn't really come up with anything. And so I was joking about Cliff's very strong opinion on fried eggs and how they should be done and stuff like that.
I still haven't heard this.
Do I need to go into this? Okay, for your benefit.
He's going to go into it. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, he has strong opinions.
I don't have strong opinions, okay? Here's the deal. For the last 10 or 15 years, every single time I have ordered eggs at a restaurant, and I mean we're talking restaurants all over the country, California, Texas, Virginia, places in between, everywhere that I've been, I've ordered eggs. I have always, for the last, like I say, I don't know, 10, 15 years, I've ordered them over medium. I have yet to receive an over medium egg. So I'm on a quest. Yeah, they're always over easy. They're never over medium. And then I got to thinking at one point I thought maybe it's me. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. So I get on YouTube and I look up how to cook an over medium egg, and I watched Gordon Ramsay cook one, and I watched that Oliver guy cook one, whatever his name is. I watched 3 or 4 different chefs cook eggs, and I'm not wrong. Okay, I know there's sunny side up.
Yeah.
There's over easy. There's over medium. There's over hard. I order over medium. I don't ever get an order over medium. So someday, I'm gonna get one. Some cook is gonna get like a $20 tip. I swear to God, if you're listening out there, if you're a short order cook,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Any cooks listening, just keep an eye out.
that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, some jerk orders over medium. Send him an over medium, and you might get a big tip. You never know. It could be some guy on a quest like me. So that's what he was talking about.
Yeah. And so the conversation went around. In fact, I was going to read it off, but I left it in there. And it came down to, was it, what we decided, 3 things?
Yeah.
Three rules or laws?
We decided, okay, what if you were king of the world, if you were the emperor and could do anything you wanted, there was nothing stopping you, what 3 changes would you make? Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did have one question,
Yeah.
just for clarification.
Yes.
3 things being absolutely anything, or 3 things within the realm of reality as we know it?
Well, I think you can kind of
I'm saying
stretch
absolutely
it.
anything because you can imagine the crap that's in my head. I mean, I actually have a list, and like Cliff said, he knew mine would be pretty horrible. So I've had to work hard to think of things that might be funny that don't involve.
Yeah, he was getting into Thanos country where he would like
Yeah.
immediately go, "Oh, Matt, you're king of the world. What are you going to do?" Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kill half the population.
Yeah.
You know, so it was
It's like
that's
you
not
know,
funny.
it's like Bill Burr's sketch about randomly sinking cruise ships. You know, it goes in that direction. It comes from years of sitting in a patrol car just growing hate, like patience on a statue. So that's where we go.
So I guess this is your show. You got to go first.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I came up with 3, and I came up with a real one, a kind of sort of funny one, and one I think is really funny. So
All right.
I'm gonna start with the real one.
Yeah, just throw one out there, and
Here's the real one right here,
throw
man.
it up the flagpole.
Yeah.
We'll go.
One at a time. Pass it around. This is a real one. There will be a worldwide decree that fax is dead.
No faxes.
We're done with fax. It's over with. It will be a global felony, punishable by something humiliating, to have, use, or require, or in any way possess, unless it's disarmed and in a museum, a fax machine.
Okay.
See,
Yeah.
so
So
I can't make fun of your opinion about eggs
So
anymore.
just the other day, like 2 days ago, this guy at work was told me, he said, I was having a conversation with a guy on the phone, and I said, man, I need this stuff. And the guy said, I faxed it to you. And the guy was like, we have one of those?
Yeah.
Did you get it? I don't even know where the fax machine is. Where do I go look for this?
This may surprise you, but as someone who's not of your generation, I've never really used a fax machine ever.
Well,
I can believe that.
Here's the thing about the fax. From one of the things that I had to do when I was a district attorney investigator, when someone's criminal history has something to do with their current case, like they're going to do like it's a 3-strike thing or whatever, we have to go through a lot of painstaking crap to prove that really happened. And one of the things is you have to get the records from the jurisdiction where it came from, and they have to be like signed, sealed, and blessed by the Pope and all that stuff. And constantly at all levels of government, people want me to fax a request. And I'd say, well, how about a request from a government email? Something simple.
Yep.
And they don't know how. That's just how. And it's government institutional inbreeding. And in the medical world, they say it's because of HIPAA rules, blah, blah, blah. The security email is very easy to set up. It's easier to snipe, or fake a fax than it is an email. So anyway, that was my 2 cents. And also, when you talk to an agency like that, that's like when you call and you need something from another investigator, and you call this jurisdiction. You go, hey man, do you guys have this report from whatever? Yes. If you could scan it. Well, we don't do email. You know the quality of work you're about to get, right? You know the field you're playing in, but it's dead technology. Let's get it over with and quit requiring it.
Hey man, do you have a big whiteboard? Because Tim needs to be writing all these down.
Yeah.
Tim will remember
we need
it.
a big whiteboard. He can be.
No, Tim will remember it. That dude has an unbelievable memory. So.
Okay, idea number 1: no more faxes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Global.
Not bad.
Okay, who's going next?
You are.
Oh,
Dealer's
yeah.
left.
Okay, I'm going next. All right. So my idea is, and I know this is silly, but it's one of these things that bugs me. The first thing I would do is I would call Bondo Fixident, and I would call Fixident Bondo. There you go. That's my idea. Because what do you do with Bondo? You literally use it to fix a dent on your car.
Holy hell, man!
And what do you
You
use?
made Tim look contemplative.
What do you use Fixident for? You use it to bond your false teeth to your gums. Boom! That's my idea.
Well, whichever one of us winds up, Grand High Emperor of the universe, and if it's not you, you're going to be on the team, dude. That's
all right.
genius.
That's mine.
Right,
that's mine. No, that's just a marketing thing. Some marketing guys came up with those words and created them out of nothing, but I don't care. They're backwards. They bug me.
That's like Gallagher said. Why the hell in the United States do we drive in a parkway and park in a driveway?
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
All right. I like that. This isn't as oppressive a regime as I thought it would be.
It's early yet.
It is. I've got some dark shit if we want it, but
Yeah.
I got some not dark shit. So
Okay.
hit us, Mike.
I'm dying to hear what Mike's got.
You know, I have struggled trying to find anything that I could really think to say because we were originally going to record something like 2 weeks ago.
Because he's not old and bitter like we are.
Yeah.
So he is like, I'm not going to change anything.
I'm glad you said that because look, I'm a millennial.
Yeah,
and as a millennial, yes, I want free health care. Yes, I want, government to pay for my college and everything. That's just me. That's just what I want. That's what I need. But I started thinking about this, and I guess I went a little bit more serious initially. So this is my serious one.
Okay.
They have some places that will mandate you to have some kind of military or Peace Corps service.
Okay.
And I think that's not a terrible idea.
Oh, compulsory service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going into, your healthcare or your college and everything, with those you go and essentially earn your
Right.
yeah, and that's kind of what I got for my first one. So it's not funny, it's not like
That's okay.
it's not anything.
It's not stupid.
Everyone's over here just like, oh yeah, I don't know why we have him here today now, because I thought he was gonna say something better.
Oh no. We got to have some real shit.
That's actually about
So-
the only thing that I have pre-prepared.
So compulsory.
I saw the libertarian head shake over there.
Compulsory social kind of a public service.
yeah, it's not a perfect system. It's not gonna, but that's under my dictatorship.
Everybody's gonna have to get a little skin in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not bad.
I met some Romanian sailors, and their military, they have compulsory service, 2 years, I think, in Romania. And they all had a good attitude about it, and that's just something you do, that you have to do if you can. And there were other things you could do if you couldn't. Then it's like you're saying. He said there were government jobs and things. They got a free education, but only college education, but only certain degrees like that they needed. Like you're not going to get communications or gender studies. You're going to be an engineer or something. I can also tell you, it is a very different military than ours.
Oh yeah.
And
I
so there's that. And, in my opinion, you don't mix the two.
Yeah.
Conscripts and regulars, because would you grab that for me too? That's my wife. She may need me to give her a ride, and we'll have to pause. But I get it. That's cool. That's the only knowledge I have.
I mean,
about
like it's not, like I said, a perfect idea.
No.
But it's just what I kind of was thinking.
No
so.
idea is perfect.
Well, hang on, because
Well, and there's also a lot of thought now that there are more people going to college rather than trade school and stuff, and most people aren't ready for college right out. A lot of people aren't.
yeah, see, that's kind of what I was thinking
I
along
wasn't.
too. Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
I like it.
I don't think it's bad. Actually, I've kind of thought about that before myself, but I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
Does she need a lift, Tim? Okay. I like it. So that's cool.
That's my first
Are we
one.
back to me?
Okay, we're back to you.
All right. So this is my first crazy one. I was thinking global. So when you ask questions like this and you think about all the little minor annoyances and sort of the way we deal with each other, and you think about things that when you're the world dictator that ought to be like punishable by something, wearing pajamas in public, the way people talk, cell phones in line, things like that. And then it occurred to me, what is more terrifying than like a grandmother with a spoon, right? You know, and then what's even more terrifying is a grandmother of another culture when they get pissed off, like, you know, the old lady or the mommy or whatever. Because I had friends from an Asian, a couple of friends from an Asian country, and their mother was terrifying when she was pissed off, man. I mean, it was just that language and the body, and I mean, and she went with a spatula, like the big round one out of a wok, she would take to those kids, you know, and the German grandmothers. So here's the deal. I'm going to have a Legion of Grandmothers exchange where you can go anywhere in the world you want to go when you retire. And all you have to do is like take a wooden spoon to the dude with his ass crack hanging out of his pants at Albertsons. Now, how cool would that be when you're sitting there and you've got the dude, you know, that's the slob that doesn't bathe and his ass crack's hanging out, and he's on his phone and holding up the line, and like some lady comes out just screaming in German and beating the guy with a switch.
I like it.
So what do they call those religious cops in like Saudi Arabia?
Oh yeah.
So what you're talking about, like a cultural.
It's a cultural
police
exchange,
force.
Man. Yeah.
Would you have them
Like,
just patrolling the area, or would it be like an app
that's,
that you're like,
that's your only obligation.
It's
It's like, okay, so you're of Hispanic descent, Mexican descent, right, dude? Shoes, man. I know. They're famous for beating kids with shoes, right?
Yeah, and also my grandmother. I don't know if I'm. You know what? I'm gonna say it. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
My grandmother was very religious, as people of that time and would be. But one thing that she would always do is over at her house. She's 3 houses down from the Catholic Church, and is very good friends with the priest there. And so she would take jugs of water to him to have him bless them. And then she would bring these jugs of water home, fill water bottles with them. And anytime me and my sister or me and my brother would get into a fight or into an argument, she'd grab one of these holy water bottles and start spraying us like we were cats.
Right.
So.
And as a...
So it's like a little mini exorcism.
Yeah, that's what it was.
As a low middle class WASP kid, if I was at your house and saw that would terrify the shit out of me. Because at least I'm kind of in tune, with my, my rural grandmother and her wooden spoon and all that. And I'm saying,
I'm used to getting beat with a Hot Wheel track, but getting sprayed with holy water, dude, I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, man. I saw a video like that, and an old lady stood up, took her shoe off, and started beating some guy for wiping a booger on the back of a seat on a bus. And I mean those are the things that are wrong with our society, because a lot of us were raised around people like that. We didn't act that way. We might when we're out of the house, but now, man, you never know. You could have, somebody's grandmother sitting behind the seat that's living in Naples, on the government dole, and so when you decide to do something, trashy like that, she's going to beat the hell out of you with a stick.
Whip out a spatula and go to town.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know we'll forget the sign. When you make like wonton and it's the big round, it's sort of like a sieve, but it's a spatula. You ought to hear the magic sound that makes between a full wind up and a kid's ass. I've heard it, man. With an incomprehensible screaming language. And she was an angel of a lady, man, hugged and on those kids, but nope, those kids got to fighting and it was on. So it's the grandmother brown shirt, I guess, brigade, just for general manners and societal.
So
for the good of society and
Manners Patrol.
Yeah,
we gotta come up with a name for that.
Yeah, just decor. Well,
Tim, can you work up a logo?
Yeah. Well, it's working at the courthouse, and you see people coming in for arraignment and all kinds of things, divorces and family things, wearing pajama pants or dressed like they're going to the nightclub.
Yeah. And
okay, I'm not asking the world to start wearing a coat and tie when you fly on an airplane. But wear outerwear is all I'm asking. Mm-hmm. And there are people I do enjoy seeing in their underwear and that's a very small chunk of society. We'll get to that later in the podcast. But
Matt, you're not supposed to talk about
Yeah.
that on the podcast. No.
But like I'm saying, when you're butt cracking out in public, and you're gonna get Abuela's sandal
Just
right at the top of the exposed skin, right on the just pow.
I had a guy tell me a story. I'm not going to mention any names, but because it's not important. He was telling me his sister was mad because she had been down at the grocery store and was standing in line at the grocery store, and this lady behind her, this white lady, called her a ratchet ass Mexican.
Huh.
And she got pissed off about it because it was racist and everything. So the guy, his sister's complaining, I can't believe she called me that. And he said, well, what were you wearing? And she said, well, I was wearing my house shoes and pajama pants and a T-shirt.
Blammo.
And he said, and what did your hair fixed? No, my hair wasn't fixed. Makeup? No makeup. Okay, and where were your grandparents born? They were born in Mexico. He said, you were a ratchet ass Mexican. That's why she called you that.
Yeah.
So you only have yourself to blame.
Yeah.
Okay. You when you dress like that, when you go out in town at the grocery store, you dress like that.
That's all I'm asking.
And people insult you. Don't be surprised. That's all.
I'm just sitting here picturing just a little old woman with a spatula or a shoe instead of a bailiff in a courtroom now. So.
Just laying into somebody.
Yeah, and they could be anywhere, man. They could be on the bus. They could be at the store. You don't know, man. And they're living the dream and seeing the world. Mm-hmm. And all they got to do is beat people wearing Crocs in church. So anyway,
There you go.
all right. Throw it down, Cliff.
What? Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Idea number 2. All right, so I toyed around with making cars that would not turn unless the turn signal was on, but I never could. I couldn't figure out how to make that work, so I kind of abandoned it for now. But we might pull that out of the freezer and put
Are
it
you
back.
about to do turn signals?
No, I'm not going to do turn signals.
Okay.
So, like I said, I couldn't figure out how to make that work, and besides, it wasn't that funny. But anyway, so I went big. And I decided that a lot of people are talking about legalizing drugs, about legalizing marijuana and stuff. And I thought, if I was king of the world, not only would I legalize all drugs, but the government would actually manufacture them. I think that's the ticket. We're going to completely cut out the middleman. Instead of just taking the taxes off the top, we're going to take all the profits. We're going to make the drugs so cheap and so high quality that absolutely nobody can compete with us. And besides, the one thing that government is good at is eliminating competition.
There's that.
I mean, who else runs a lottery? Nobody. Okay.
I would think the only problem I have with your theory, I think
Yeah.
the names of the particular weed strains are going to get boring.
Yeah, well, they will. They're absolutely. But here's the big.
They're going to be instead of being called Maui Wowie and what was the big
It'll
one in the
be
60s?
Government weed number 42.
Yeah, AK-47 and green crack and all the crap you see. It's going to be DSM 407A.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the deal, though. The main reason that I want to manufacture drugs is so that we can put the birth control medicine right in the drugs. Okay, so there you go. Of course, we're going to have to come up with a male birth control medicine, but I don't think that's impossible. I think that we can work that out. And that way, if you want to get high, that's fine. We'll get rich off of you, and you won't have any kids for us to support for years and years and years. And who knows? 2 or 3 generations, we might be able to breed the addictive gene right out of the population. Who's with me?
That's long term, man.
Anybody? I mean, this is a big idea. I understand. This is a big idea, but
No, that's solid. That's better than
yeah.
mine. Mine was I came up with it being a night shift cop, and it was a vaporized drug to put in the air conditioning at Walmart that you can inoculate employees against. But if you are always in Walmart at 3:00 in the morning,
okay.
it would
Similar.
kind of take you out of the gene pool because the average person, you're working on a project and you got to go, you got to go buy a fuse or something, and Walmart's the only place in town to get it. When you go there and grab it, there's like one other dude like you and a whole lot of other people that just don't come out during the day, probably because they got warrants or,
we can work that into my third idea. We'll get to that in a minute.
I like it. I'm in.
Okay. Anything?
Well, I was gonna say, you know what? That's not important. I'll tell you guys.
Mike's not even gonna touch my idea. He's gonna you know what? That's crazy.
I had a comment for it, but I don't really want to. You know what? We're all friends here, and then these people on the internet that I'm
Tim,
never. Yeah.
I mean, he's here.
Yeah.
My New Year's resolution last year, because I know people love hearing about those.
Yeah.
Was to get real big into drugs this year. I have not done that yet.
Well,
Tell him
Mike,
your drug test story.
Mike, resolutions are hard to keep, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was gonna start low, and then by the end of the year, I was gonna be aiming for speedballs.
Yeah,
and look, I can still do it. I have a month or 2 months to get there.
Yeah.
But I went to my boss the other day, and I asked him for a raise, and I said, "Look, this cocaine habit isn't cheap. I need a little bit more money just to be able to get by." And then the next day, they sent me for a drug test.
You did finally get tested?
I still haven't, but I just thought that would be good for this.
When Mike brought that up, we were talking about random drug. You made my eyes water, dude. That was funny. Because the Coast Guard, it was a lottery, and it always seemed to happen on reserve weekends, right? So they would get the reserves and the regulars together. And then Mike said he was starting to feel like everybody thought he was just such a total geek that he wasn't worth spending the money on for the drug test. So he was out to see if he could get drug tested.
I've been trying to get drug tested all year, and
really?
I have not been able to.
Yeah, and this is a person that won't take 2 Tylenol at the same time. So, yeah.
Well, I've been drug tested a bunch of times, and I've actually worked with 2 or 3 guys that I recall got fired because they failed a breath test at 8 o'clock in the morning. So they were pretty hardcore. But alcohol is what we refer to as the employee assistance program. That's where I come from.
Okay, here's one. It's absolute nonsense.
Fantastic.
I'm thinking what we do is have an annual Footloose week.
Footloose week.
You stop all the music, and then people have to go, and then you send a Kevin Bacon into the city. You don't even have to do it for all the cities. You just pick a city randomly.
You throw a dart at a map.
Yeah, and then you stop all the music for a week, and then you send your Kevin Bacon there, and then Kevin Bacon goes and dances in a warehouse. And then they go and have their big prom, and then John Lithgow's there saying, "Okay, you can dance again."
Okay,
genius.
That is genius. Now, if you were bringing this to me as if I were the world dictator, grand emperor, and you brought this to me, I would go, see, why not? What's that gonna hurt? I concur.
Anybody got anything? Any objections to this?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Can't think of one.
I had a weirder one, but I was like, let's ease into that one.
All right, I like that.
Gonna ease into the weird, huh?
Yeah. All right, I actually got 2 more. Okay. I'll do my turn signal one.
Yeah, you're gonna do. You got to turn.
I'll do the
signal
turn.
one?
Well, okay. Again, I was a street cop, and everyone knows when you're supposed to signal, and people don't out of selfishness. That's all it is. And this occurred to me one night. I saw a guy make 2 lane changes and 2 turns with no signal. And I pulled him over, and I ran through my spiel. Yes, sir. One of the ones on top there. Thank you.
Yeah, hook me up.
And I ran through my spiel, and I said, "Sir, the reason I stopped you, you changed lanes and you made 2 turns without signaling your intent." And he goes, "Yeah." And the number one thing I was taught in the academy, thank you, sir, about tickets. Well, one of my it was Chris Cherry.
Yeah,
said it. He said, "You should know before you get out of the car if you're going to write a ticket or not."
I like having a waitress.
This is
It's
nice.
fantastic.
I could get a glass of ice.
And I had already decided this person was going to get a ticket. That's just, and the thing is, it's a simple thing. It's 0.007 calories of your energy to turn the signal lever. And they don't, because they don't care. They don't give a shit. They can't think about another driver. Number one reason is a cell phone. Because most people are right-handed, so they drive with their right hand, cell phone on the left. I can't be bothered to reach over there.
Oh,
Again,
man.
oh, did I kill my thing?
Way to go.
That's all right. So this is why communism would never work. This is why socialism, this is why there's absolutely no way people could ever function normally or function as a cohesive group because we can't even bother to throw out a turn signal. And you compare that to aviation, and like Tim and I were talking about the other day, it's a different world with pilots because if we ignore each other, you can slam together and cause big problems.
You might die.
Yeah, there's more likelihood of that.
Tends to focus the mind.
But the average driver doesn't care, and so it's a breakdown. So
Flying cars.
I kind of okay. That's another
Hey,
one. That's another one. I'm working on it. I'm ready for automated cars. I gladly await our robot overlords because they'll be better drivers than people. So I kind of stole this idea from a comedian that used to open from Gallagher. He said that if somebody was an ass, just a general ass, he'd send them to a government plastic surgeon to make them look like an ass. So you would know, like you're at work, and you think, "Oh my God, who did this? What ass?" And he of course, I've got sleeves, but he goes, "Oh, it wasn't me, sir." So here's what I'm gonna do. If you're somebody who cannot function among other people to the level that you just can't put yourself out enough to signal, whether somebody's there or not, you think you need it, I think you're a dick. Okay. So I'm going to send you to a government plastic surgeon.
Make you look like a dick.
No. and it's going to be.
I wasn't the only one thinking that, was I?
Yeah. No, it's close. Yeah. You're going to get a big, giant, anatomically correct phallus adjoined to the side of your head, and which side depends on which way you turn when you wouldn't signal. You know, more than all, sticking out of the side of your head that you get to wear until you learn how to use a turn signal. So you get a big rubber wing implanted to the side of your head.
So turn signals are a big thing.
It's the breakdown of society when people don't signal.
You know what's weird?
So I want to know. Well, hey, let me finish one more thought. Sorry, because in cars we're kind of anonymous, right? You know, you don't really know who that is, and you just assume the guy's a jerk. Why didn't he signal? Well, maybe it's broken or whatever. Now, when you're standing in line at Albertson, the guy got the big wang sticking out the side of his head. You know why that guy doesn't signal. He doesn't give a shit about anybody else. So you know what? Go ahead and cut in line in front of him. I don't care. Let the cart roll a little extra, take out his tail light. Nobody cares because we know what kind of person that is.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it. I mean, I would have gone with just a tattoo, but a giant wiener on the side of the head is good
hang
too.
on. The tattoo's forever. The wiener will just be a little scar when it's over.
Okay. All right.
Okay. If the guy, if they reform, they get tired of having to drive because it's going to be pretty big, and if it's on the left side, it's going to be against the window and kind of hard to drive. So, maybe they'll get past it.
Okay. Well, what I think is weird is that you have a certain segment of society, like you said, who's never used the turn signal ever.
Right.
And then you have another segment of society that uses turn signals so much that they actually don't even think about it. I mean, it just happens automatically to the point that they will run from the cops and still use a turn signal.
I've seen it.
So
I've seen
it's weird that you have these two different segments of society that different treatments of the turn signal, I think.
I was fully prepared to sit here and make a joke about not using the turn signal and just go on that for, a good 5-10 minutes. But I don't want to be known as one of those guys who don't use a turn signal. So,
But, Mike, I know the kind of person you are.
But it's a joke, Mike.
I know the kind of person you are, and you wouldn't be the guy with the big giant jelly stunned to the side of his head, standing in line at the store. You're not that kind of guy. I've met those kind of people, and believe me, they got it coming. So.
Yep, that hoodie wouldn't work with a head wiener.
Just you have to cut a hole on the side of it.
Yeah, the world poker tour wouldn't work, man.
The head wiener.
Yeah, head wiener. All right, Cliff, what you got?
Wait, is it my turn again?
It's your turn. Oh, wait, did we? Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I was thinking about what was I thinking about? I did the drugs one already. Okay. You should only be able to spend food stamps at a government store. I think groceries brought to you by the same people that issue you your driver's license. I think that would be a good.
That would make me get the hell off of. Yeah.
Get the hell off of food stamps?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, because I don't have a problem with helping people out that need help. I just think that they should be encouraged to not need help anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not trying to be cruel, but I think maybe having a special store to go to run by the same people that issue you your driver's license would probably motivate people that this is not the way I want to live my life. Standing in line for 2 hours to buy a block of cheese. I don't know. I think that would be a good thing. Because then I wouldn't have to stand behind them in line at the store. I'm like, why am I standing behind this guy and I have to buy his groceries? That doubly sucks. He should be standing behind me. So anyway.
That's good. Now, well, if they turn out to be as nice as a military exchange,
yeah, those are pretty nice.
Now, a military exchange is an incident in one is where I came up with the grandmother thing because I pissed off a Japanese lady, an older Japanese lady.
She lied into you?
Yeah, the sackers there were all Asian women, and for whatever reason they were older, and they were older than me, and I was my 30s, and there was only one tip jar and like 3 lanes. And so I assumed it's like you go to a bar or like Murray's. We were there last night and they got one tip jar. You tip everybody. So I assumed that's what it was. And I put money in there. It was not that. It was they each worked an individual lane, not like at a regular store. So I tipped somebody else for the lady that very carefully packed my eggs. And this lady lit into me. In Japanese, and yeah, and I know they always had their hands taped. I guess cuts and stuff. Like their fingers were taped, and shaking that taped finger in my face, and I'm terrified, and yeah, that's
just throw money at her and run away.
Pretty much, yeah. I was like, I had no idea. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Matt's finna make it rain.
I only have coins left.
Take them.
I'm not really using this watch, but just go ahead.
I don't need to see.
I have this head wiener. You can have.
I love it. Very good, man.
Oh, that's a good
The turn signal unicorn. All right. I like it.
Okay, I gotta tell you guys another story here.
Okay, cool.
I'm down.
When I was in high school, they had us go and do community service just to qualify for scholarships.
The Abel Hanger?
Yep, Abel Hanger.
Yeah, they handed us ours.
Did they
Millennial Gen X, we were handed ours. All we had to do was have a heartbeat after high school.
We had to go and actually
do. By the time we got to
Yeah.
So what me and a friend of mine, we chose to go to the hospital and just do community service there. So we went around and just cleaning up and doing things like that. One day, this woman came in, and this is about after a week or so of working there. You kind of have a layout. You get your paths down, and you know where everything in the hospital is. And so this woman comes in, and she stops me, and she's like, "Where's the emergency room?" And so I'm like, "Okay, I have to stop and think. I'm right here. what's the fastest way I can tell her to get to the emergency room? And so she looks at me and just goes, Donde esta emergency?
Holy shit.
Oh!
And the thing is, I can picture the look on your face.
Yeah.
Because I've asked you questions and I can see it, man. Oh, that's beautiful.
So she's there, and I'm just looking at her like, oh, what is she even doing to me right now? And I'm like, yeah, I know what you said. I speak English fine. I was just trying to get you there the fastest possible route.
I am currently calculating routes right now. You're not helping.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then she just stands there for a second. I'm just like, just go that way and take a left. That's all you got to do. So
Wow.
I want something to happen to those people. I haven't decided yet.
Have
it's
you
open for
considered?
discussion.
Is this a Karen issue? Is this a Karen
Oh, yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Have you considered the head wiener?
You know, that may be a good option for it. It's just those people.
I'm going to talk
yeah.
about that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
from now.
I'm
Thanks-
happy with
thanks
that
to-
one.
Thanks
Okay.
to Matt.
Yeah, we got to come up with. Yeah, we have to figure that out.
It was at the same time, it was the most insulting but the funniest thing
Yeah.
that
See,
could ever
dude,
happen.
dude, it's because you look like you don't understand English. It's that look on your face is like,
Well, look,
I have no idea what she's saying.
I did go to public school in the U.S., so there is some question.
Yeah.
Could still be a possibility.
Yeah. What is this again? And what it? Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Well, my uncle owned a bar in the 70s and 80s. He and some friends, and they had a Japanese cook who was a badass guitar player. And his dad, I can't remember. His dad was a Japanese citizen, and
I think that looks cooler than the Vann.
it does. But it wasn't designed by Tim. So
Oh, well,
couldn't be as
sorry.
cool. And so I mean, he's very. My point is, he is very Japanese, and spoke Japanese. We spoke perfect English because he went to school here, and people kept coming up and speaking Spanish to him. So he had a couple of and he's a guitar player, fantastic guitar player, in a band called Shalico, and he had a T-shirt made that says "I'm a Jap," and people would come up and speak to him in Spanish, and he would point at the shirt. So. But we got to come up with a shirt for the other people. You don't need to be punished for that.
Yeah.
So you remember what was the math teacher's name that was a fencer?
Gilbert Garcia.
Yeah. So I was taking math from him in college, and he was telling us about a story about when he was in college, and he's studying to become studying math, in college, and during the summer he would take like just odd jobs, whatever, to make ends meet. So he had taken a job at a construction site, and he was literally digging a ditch, right, in a ditch with a shovel, digging, and this guy that came over and kind of squatted down next to the ditch and very poor Spanish, ¿Cómo está usted? and Gilbert says he looks up, and there's this airplane flying over, and he says, "So what do you think the maximum apex of that aircraft is?" and the guy looked at him like, "What?"
Nice. Have you ever heard that guy sneeze?
No, not that I remember.
So he had been my fencing coach for like a year. So I started fencing in 6th grade. So 7th grade, he was my math teacher.
Okay.
And I thought, what are the chances? And he's excellent coach, excellent teacher. And so he's giving a lecture one day, and he's going, okay, so when you're factoring a polynomial, and the whole class is like, we can't let this slide.
Like, what was that?
Yeah. And so he'd said when he was a kid, he had watched some old movies, so I'm assuming World War II, and he decided he'd want to be a Marine. He wanted to be this badass. And if he's in the jungle fighting for our freedom, and he apparently had like a really loud sneeze as a kid, and so he taught himself to sneeze quietly so the bad guys wouldn't hear him.
Sweet.
And it just kind of stuck. But yeah, there's another one. So, okay, I got one for healthcare. I know we said 3, but I came up with another one.
Dude, it's your show. You can just do this all night if you want.
Well, I mean, so some things we got to do. We got to bring light, love, peace, and other things to the people, not just all the the banhammer shit that I would bring.
Not just head wieners.
Not just head wieners. Not just my Grand Imperial chariot drawn by homeless people.
I'm gonna steal the head wiener things to add onto this thing that I was going.
No. My I will have a solid gold.
Wait, just let me say right quick. My government grocery stores are gonna have your drugs pumped into them. Okay. That's all. That's how we're gonna get some synergy going here.
I'm gonna. I don't know how much longer. I'll live till whatever age. And I'm never going to hear anything better than that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
well, okay. Here's the thing. A quick story. I'll make it as fast as I can. When I was very first in the Coast Guard, our station is in downtown Corpus Christi. It was in one of the office buildings. And there were homeless people everywhere. And we had a lot of young people in the unit, and they were nice to them. A lot of them slept in the ramp in our parking garage, and they were cool. I, being a cop, being a sex crime detective, all that, trying to and just a regular guy trying to have a romantic walk down the river walk in San Antonio with my wife and getting constantly pestered by homeless people. Even then, I was cordial.
They prefer the term urban
outdoorsman. Anyway, we were nice to them, and one day they hauled in a crew of sailors. They got off a boat late at night. Everybody was tired. Somebody forgot to lock a van, and a couple of them crapped in it. Took a big shit in a vehicle. And I tell people I got out of the Coast Guard with I was just a cop. That's all I did. It wasn't a big deal. But that war I'm still fighting was that homeless guy crapping in the car. So when I am Grand High Emperor of the universe, my throne is going to be a solid gold likeness of my favorite motorcycle, my Concord 14, and it's going to be drawn by a chariot of homeless people. So anyway, but other than that kind of oppression,
didn't Kramer do that on a Seinfeld episode?
Rickshaws.
Rickshaws,
that would be another one. That would be rickshaws.
Homeless pulled rickshaws. Yeah.
I went a step further. I was thinking about it. If you guys, we grew up with Mr. Rogers. He had an episode explaining how the San Francisco cable cars worked. Mm-hmm. And you always thought they were overhead electric. Well, the old ones, and maybe some of them now, they actually have a physical cable.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, like a conveyor belt.
Right.
And they pull a lever, and it grabs the cable, and it pulls the cable car along, and then it lets go, and then it has brakes. Right? So they're big electric motors. Why not giant hamster wheels?
Okay.
Right? If they're going to crap on the streets and all like that. This is
horrible.
I'm going to get banned from YouTube
You could build it behind the government cheese store.
These are all jokes. I'm going to get banned from YouTube. All right.
These are jokes, people. Just jokes.
Back to my health care. I'm still sore over having to smell that van. In fact, it was a joke. Every time we would stop and grab Cokes on the way to the boat station or wherever we were going, we would buy an air freshener. So there's like 50 air fresheners. Like you had to drive and look around it. So they're all jokes.
With your head wiener hitting the window.
We love and embrace homeless people. May you come poop in my yard, and I'll give you food and heroin. YouTube, we love them. So other than the oppression that I'm going to inflict upon the world, I'm going to give happiness. From the day of my coronation forward, all breast implants will be squeak toys.
Yes.
I'm just gonna step outside for a minute. If you hear my car turning on, it's nothing.
Dude.
Guys.
I think this deserves a moment of silence.
It's not my idea.
Totally get our heads around this.
A very beautiful lady, Debbie Barnes, here in Midland.
Right.
Barnes, she's remarried, and my memory sucks. She was a former police officer. We worked together, and she went through breast cancer. And she was the reason I'm using her name and all is because she's badass. And she's, as far as I know, in the cure zone. She posted on Facebook that when they were talking about rebuilding her boobs, she considered squeak toys. And I thought that's genius. So now as world dictator, now everyone can enjoy them, right?
Dude.
Okay, not just guys like us that would admire.
My dogs would love you.
Right. Oh, come on. I mean, how cool would it be? You know, you're walking through the park, even if you're not, you know, if you're a gay dude or just, you know, a woman that doesn't care, and you're not going to normally enjoy, you know, the nice form that this woman paid a lot of money for, but she picks up a kid and he goes, hee, hee, and you go, that's funny. Everybody gets to enjoy that,
good.
right?
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
That's my healthcare thing.
Dude, I don't see how we can top that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't. I just heard something better than the wiener on the head. Now, so.
Yeah.
5 minutes ago, he thought that was
Yeah,
impossible.
I thought that was impossible.
I just want you guys to know, when you don't allow me to get genocidal about shit, it does go to tits and dicks.
Okay.
So
Okay,
immediately,
yeah.
and so
I don't think we can beat that.
no, we're good. This has been fun. That's a good idea. Whose idea was this? Yours.
That
That
was
was
my
yours.
idea,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
yours. Good call. Tim's about to explode over there. So anyway, that's all we got. We have a couple of cool episodes coming up. I'm hoping to record one more before my next chemo warp. If not, we'll see you guys on the other side. Cheers. Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody,
Thank
get in
you.
here, Tim.
All right. Come on in here, Tim.
All right.